So when the suggestion for a story was given to me at school, there's only ever one memory that really ever comes to mind, and I'm going to brace you for this. It's kind of a doozy. So on April 16th, 2007, I was a student of Virginia Tech. And if you don't know a couple of you got it. If you aren't sure what that means, it was a setting for what is still the deadliest school shooting in U.S. history, and still the second deadliest shooting in U.S. history by a single gunman. Orlando actually beat us this year, so woo! Oh, by the way, can you imagine if I come up here with a bunch of comedy props and then start off the story like that? Like big fucking sunglasses, this is like the deadliest shooting. So this is the story, not of how I survived a massacre, but of how strange things really can just get in life. So in April, I was taking an intensive theater course called set design. I imagine a few of you have had to go through that course, and they were extremely strict on us. Like, they treated us as though just this class alone was our career. So I got in a really bad habit of doing horrible all-nighters, and then being late to class so I could sleep an extra 10 minutes. Now, side note, what a lot of people don't know about the Virginia Tech massacre is that less than a year prior, William Warba, who was a Blacksburg resident, escaped from police custody and then killed 2 police officers in his escape. Our entire campus was shut down, classes were canceled. Turns out he wasn't even anywhere that close to campus once they caught up to him. It became this huge embarrassment for administration. So, on April 16th, I was already going to be late for class, and my roommate walked into my room and said, "Courtney, classes are canceled. There's been a shooting on campus." And I looked at him and said, "Oh, thank God," and then rolled over and went back to sleep. Because we had just gone through this, in my horrible defense. So hours later, I get up, I go downstairs, and first of all, my cell phone is useless, because for the sheer volume of calls that are coming in at this point. Second of all, I open up my laptop, and all I see across CNN is Virginia Tech massacre, shooter in engineering building. All of my roommates are engineers. I'd only accounted for one of them so far. In this time period, somehow my stepmom is able to get a phone call through to me. I pick it up and she's panicked and she's crying. She goes, "Are you okay? Where are you? Are you okay?" I go, "Yeah, Terry, I'm fine, I'm fine. I'm at home. I'm just sitting on the couch in my bra." I didn't know I was on speaker. So my entire family heard that. And in the midst of all of this, I hear her yell out, "Rick," that's my dad, "Rick, she's fine. She's sitting on the couch in her bra." And just laughter in the background, laughter. There's a lot to that actual day. Everybody always wants to know the hard question. The answer is yes, I did know somebody. Yes, they did die. This isn't going to be a story about that, because that's not my story. My story, as I said, is more of the ripple effect. We all know what happened day of. What happened after is President Bush showed up to give a speech at Lane Stadium to tell us to keep strong. I went with my friends. I had to borrow a Hokie sweatshirt because I've never really been like a sports spirit kind of girl. Nonetheless, not really the Hokies. Sorry, not really my thing. So there I am in Lane Stadium listening to a man, to be frank, I had absolutely no respect for already, who had somehow found a way to just show up immediately when this happened. But when Katrina happened, where did he go? And I'm sitting in a giant sweatshirt. It's not even my own. I had to borrow it from a roommate. I lasted 5 minutes before I was like, I gotta go. And I left. And I walked away from Lane Stadium. There was still media everywhere, snapping pictures. I'm flicking them off on all ends. Not because I'm trying to be a cute punk, but because after about 24 hours of that, everywhere you go, the only attitude you start to take is either to shut down or to be a dick. So I was in dick mode. During this, my best friend calls me. At this point, we had just kind of started to get to know each other, asked me what I'm doing. I tell him, I just told you, fuck Bush, murr. I'm in my early 20s, I'm a total badass, and I'm in dick mode. It's like, how about I pick you up? He picks me up to take me to go get ice cream. And we tell the most horrible jokes you can possibly see. I'm not going to repeat a single one because that will always just stay in the car between us. But that's the thing. That's the thing about tragedy and comedy. is that when there's absolutely nothing else you can possibly say, and you can't even see far enough to know what you're even gonna have for dinner because of how dark everything is, much less the next day, sometimes just any way to get a laugh is the only way to get through. And he got me to laugh, and I got him to laugh. We were together for 8 years, and he would cite that moment as the moment that he realized he fell in love with me. I wouldn't cite the same moment, but it's still extremely sweet and poignant. After graduation, I had a very hard time dealing. Both of my jobs were campus jobs. My gallery job turned into me curating everything that was sent in Goodwill at Virginia Tech. I had every victim's name memorized, their family members, their friends, their hobbies, their favorite colors. People were just pouring information in. I was collecting it. My second job was with campus catering. The last campus catering job I did was a dinner for our graduation ceremony. In one room were the parents of the football players. In the other room were the victims' families whose kids were not going to be walking. So by that summer, I had a bit of a breakdown. I spent a couple of years in Blacksburg just kind of fucking around. Then I took a job in AmeriCorps in Paterson, New Jersey. In Paterson, New Jersey, I taught adults and teenagers on journal assistance. It's an extremely violent area. Guns basically continue to follow me. From there, I went and I lived in Hawaii and basically just took a break and I just farmed. All this time, I kept in contact with Jack. We were in that weird area now. I've gone to AmeriCorps, I've gone to Hawaii. Were we together, weren't we? We still loved each other. By the end of my Hawaii stint, he said, why don't you just come to Los Angeles? Just try it out. So I just tried it out. And I'm still here. The point of the story is not, look at all the great things that can still happen even after a tragedy, because that's bullshit. The best thing is that these tragedies don't happen. Right now, there's no one left on Virginia Tech campus as a student who knows who Cho is. Cho to them is just like a boogeyman. It's this horrible thing that happened in Tech. And that's the way it should be for everybody. That should always be a boogeyman. The tragic should always be almost unimaginable to the point of laughable. So he and I are no longer together, but he brought me out here, and he realized he was in love with me after this tragedy. It's called continuing on. It's called moving forward. You can't have comedy without honesty, and you can't have honesty without love.